was good ASMR on that one.
Picking up Hartman was big.
Go ahead and flex, Kobe.
Just flip a coin and hire one of them.
Get the sword of John
We
Adams.
did get the sword of John Adams. At like 11 or midnight, we've decided it's never been a bad idea to have an extra pizza in the refrigerator.
I don't want us to have that bourbon flavor for some of the other earlier beers. So let's start with Prom.
You don't want me to be drunk on camera, is that what Welcome to the Varsity Brews podcast.
Let's go.
Hey! A little different than our norm here. As you can see, we are on
a boat.
We've died and gone to heaven. Where are we?
This is the sixth most beautiful lake in the world. Higgins Lake, Michigan. People don't even know that. National Geographic ranked this.
National Geographic?
Yes, National Geographic ranked this the sixth most beautiful lake. Look around. The water is spotless.
Make sure we link that into the show notes.
Yeah.
Spotless.
Well, I will put sixth most beautiful lake with an asterisk by it.
If you can't tell, I'm excited. This is my heaven on earth, boys.
Well, so first of all, our podcast on the road, obviously, or on a boat. We got to find a graphic for that. I don't know how we're going to find a graphic for that. But Evan was able to hook all of this up here. So thanks to you, Evan. Obviously, the show is sponsored by WWB and Barletta Boats.
And Pioneer Hills Marine.
Pioneer Hills, yeah. Bill at Pioneer Hills Marine. We only got to give him a shout out.
We do.
He really hooked us up. So talk about the boat that we're on, and how did you get this hookup?
Well, we're on a Corsa right now with a 350 horsepower engine, and we let it rip a little bit already, and maybe we'll get some footage of that. But
dude, this thing is bougie.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking cool. And one thing I'll point out too, Vahid over here sitting on our Ultra Lounge, which kind of changed the game for pontoons. So we're on a tri-tune. We've got a patent on our chassis. What we have VIP pads, so vibration isolation pads, and you could feel it when you're riding.
Dude,
so rattle free.
That was the smoothest ride.
And what's obviously we were cutting through the wind, but if we were going with the wind, we could still hold a conversation going 40, 45 miles an hour without an issue. And everything that has to do with this chassis here that we're standing on. So, but the Ultra that you're in one of the positions you can sit in, but there's 5 total, which is pretty cool. And then
we'll show that.
Yeah, and then what Bill and Kim got installed on this all the way back there is a lily pad diving board. So we may have to have Aaron or
I think I'm the only one wearing a swimsuit.
No, I've got some.
Doesn't
look
trunks. Like it.
I've got some swim trunks on underneath, so
sure.
I'll do a cannonball of some sort when we jump off the back. But this is one of our most popular floor plans. So forget about the actual model of the boat. We have an entry-level boat, which is the Aria. It's kind of your first step into luxury, is what we say. And then Cabrio has been our workhorse. The 22-foot UC, which is the floor plan that you see right now.
Sure.
The U is for the Ultra, and the C is for the co-captain's chair that Aaron's sitting in.
Co-captain right here.
And honestly, you know who usually picks that floor plan?
Who?
Mama.
Oh, really?
Mama picks the floor
plan. I was
plan.
going to say, yeah.
So captain is usually, sit the captain down. Once the captain sits down and picks the horsepower.
Yeah.
It's all about what Mama wants. Where do you want to sit? Do you want to be sitting close to the captain? So that's what kind of structures it. But this is our most popular floor plan with the Ultra here, and then the co-captain's chair. So the Corsa that we're sitting on is kind of the sport luxury version. And then we have above that the Lusso, which is just pure luxury. And really everything on that has to do with...
Have you seen me? Have you met me?
Everything between the Corsa and the Lusso, it really has to do with kind of aesthetics. This has a more sporty exterior, and for model year 24, we actually just added some different rail designs.
Don't forget the dog door.
Yeah. On every Barletta, there is both a bow and then port doggy dock view, so that your dogs can actually, and two, if you're parking this boat for the captain's sake, you can see through when you're getting close to the dock. But the dogs love it. There's also a doggy water and food dish that's been on every Barletta since Barletta started.
We'll show that too.
It's pretty cool. So
that's how I'm gonna be able to.
When people ask what's the difference between Barletta and our competitors, it's just the small things.
Yeah.
So we take a great product and we make it just a little bit better. Both of you guys know, and Aaron, I'm sure you do too, just within RV and Marine and Elkhart County, a lot of us buy from the same people. So for the most part, the things that are on this boat are not uncommon to other manufacturers, but we believe that we do a better job. The boating experience, we brought in a lot of industry professionals from other companies, and they wanted to put their heads together and kind of fix some major issues in the boating experience. And it's a lot of those small things that you see. Speakers and then cup holders in strategic locations, charging ports, all of those things. We just kind of take it a step further. Then obviously, how many boaters also have pets? Well, quite a few. So we mentioned those two on this specific model also, and Aaron's already tested it out. The ladder that we have out back, a dog can walk up and down that. I mean, it's like walking on stairs.
It is definitely the sturdiest ladder.
It's pretty cool.
And I've been boating for over 40
years. It's pretty cool.
So
that's just kind
the
of
sixth most beautiful lake in the
on
world.
the sixth most beautiful lake in the world.
Well, Evan, thanks so much for this treat. I mean, we're really lucky to be out here on Labor Day weekend.
I know, Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day weekend.
Thanks, Evan. This is a good little
I'm sure
treat.
Everyone probably left yesterday, right? So we got
no. They're here on Labor Day weekend. Yeah, absolutely.
He didn't get the memo.
No.
Memo received.
But listen, you sold me. Barletta, give him a raise here because he just sold me on getting a Barletta boat today.
I know. I'm ready to retire, and I told him I sit out here on this beautiful lake.
Yeah.
Sun is shining. I feel comfortable. This is a legit boat.
Don't forget about the electric bimini.
That's
Yeah.
right.
AKA the top.
Standard on all.
Yeah, listen, this is an inside joke here. He was like, why do you keep calling this thing the bimini? It's the top. And I'm like, no, I swear it's the bimini.
It does say canvas on the button over here, but it is.
He looked that up on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
I'm
sure you
convinced.
did. Did you?
No.
No, he knew.
I knew that
Standard on
terminology.
all Barlettas.
Do we
Power
think that Brian Kelly's on a Barletta this weekend
Well, I can
enjoying?
tell you who does own a Barletta is Nick Saban.
Oh, okay.
Nice. That's an interesting fact.
Hold on. We got to get into this, by the way.
Yeah, we do.
We got to get into this. We have a lot to talk about today.
Yes.
Did you bring any WWB beers?
No, I brought Miller Lite and little something something. When
Buddy,
going off
buddy,
brand right now.
This is a true story. When I'm up at Higgins, I really don't drink WWB beer. And I know that sounds bad, but because we're out on the lake, we get out here probably about 8 a.m. and we don't leave till 6 p.m. And we smash about 10 cases of beer. So you can't drink.
You can't be drinking
10
Primus.
I know. You can't drink 10 cases of double Primus or Primus. You won't be able to walk.
Buddy, I thought you were going to bring some WWB.
No, I got Miller Lite and little something something.
All right. Well, let's talk about Alabama.
Okay.
You were there
I was.
for opening weekend. And was it everything that you thought it was going to be?
Yeah, I mean, I had been told quite a bit, so I tried to go into this as unbiased as possible, but the experience was awesome. So we ended up going. We went to a concert at the Tuscaloosa Amphitheater the night before, which was really, really cool. We saw Hardy, but the tailgating experience was very different and
Like in a good way, or
in a good way. Now, I haven't perused and gone to a ton of different places to experience tailgating. I think that's something that I'm starting to do a little bit more now that I'm not playing. I'm not tied up with that as much.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin can be on the list for sure.
It's good tailgating.
Ann Arbor Golf Course is the best place ever.
Ann Arbor Golf Course, I have tailgated there. That is a really neat experience
that's a good
too.
spot. I'm not biased,
but from just the tailgating experience, so they have a quad,
'Kay.
and they have tents set up. And what I was told, obviously, is they're playing Texas this coming week, where it's going to be about double the amount of people that were there.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
But it still was packed. Everyone was very gracious, very fun.
Loose laws on drinking there? Or
Open,
no?
just
Is
walk
it open?
around.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was pretty lax. We then jumped over to the Bear Trap, which was a bar just around the corner from the stadium, and went there for a little bit before the game. That's cool. But they sell alcohol in the stadium, which I think at some point
really?
Notre Dame needs to get on board with that. I think they're missing out for
some
sure.
revenue streams there.
Westwind.
Yeah. Westwind, maybe.
Yeah.
A little
But,
plug.
Hey.
you definitely got the Southern vibes.
Did they all talk like
Yes,
Brian
but
Kelly?
but also, yeah. also just the look.
Brian Kelly ain't talking like that after this weekend. Let me just tell you something real quick.
Went back to the street.
Yeah, exactly.
Northern accents back.
Yeah.
Come back to the Midwest.
He just called Father Jenkins over the weekend to get his old job back.
Well, he's still getting paid $100 million.
Yeah,
so it's all
no matter
guaranteed.
what.
It's all
Yeah,
guaranteed.
exactly.
Oh man.
But all of the girls, short skirts and cowboy boots and cowboy hats or
that's
cowgirl
awesome.
hats, and it's a big fraternity university.
Oh, is it really?
So it very much had the vibe of what you would see in like a movie.
Yep.
Kind of Varsity Brews.
Which is different than when you're on campus at Notre Dame. So
whipped cream bikinis and stuff.
Yeah,
or?
I'm sure.
Okay.
But and then the guys are wearing full suits. I don't know how they were doing that because it was 95 degrees and I was sweating my balls off as it was. But they were all out with the suit and the tie, and it was pretty cool. And then the stadium itself.
You got field access, I saw.
No, we didn't, and that's what's so
How
cool
did you
about
get on the field?
that we were not on the field.
What?
And this is what's so cool about playing at or going to Bryant-Denny Stadium is you pretty much can walk anywhere you want. And
that's
and,
cool.
and at Notre Dame, it's a little
What do you mean?
little tight. Little tight on security.
little tight
You
there.
have to get like retina and fingerprint entry.
You
or-
do. And so
They let anybody onto the field.
the stadium itself has much more of a pro stadium feel. Bigger, badder. 4 jumbotrons.
Yeah.
They're doing the lights and the music, which I know Notre Dame Stadium started to do a little bit more of that. So we had our seats, which we were sitting about the 40-yard line, 20, 25 rows up. And but you at any part of that lower bowl there, I suppose if you're sitting up, top 2, you can walk right down to the fence that separates the fence and the seating from
cool.
the field itself.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now, if you're not super tall, obviously you're not going to be able to see the game great, but you're a stone's throw away from the team. So,
sure.
we watched, I think, a quarter from our seats, and then we're like, well, let's go walk around. And we could walk right up there and be, right next to the team, right next to the action.
That's super cool.
So the barrier for entry anywhere in the stadium was very low.
Yeah.
Which I think just kind of adds to it being maybe a little bit more of a personal experience because of that. So
Yeah.
it was a really fun atmosphere. They did a good job.
Before you get into the game aspect of it,
Okay.
because we're gonna segment it off here. We're gonna talk about grades for Notre Dame, Alabama, Michigan, LSU.
Yeah.
We're gonna give grades out here in a little bit, but
Clemson.
Clemson. Yay! I'm glad you brought that up. But quickly before we go to break, I want to ask each of you. Your perspective is going to be different from ours, but what is the coolest stadium that you have ever visited or been to or played at? What is the coolest stadium you guys have been to?
You want to go first, or?
Yeah, I mean, I've been asked this before, and my answer it's from playing, but it was Penn State.
Okay.
Because it was a night game and it was a
Oh,
whiteout.
boy.
I've heard Happy Valley's like.
So you have been there in the mix.
on the field though, right?
Yeah, I was
playing,
playing
yeah.
at that point. I've always heard Knoxville too, because Notre Dame played Tennessee the year prior to me getting there.
Okay.
It was a home game, but the year before that it was a home and home, and they said that the players on the team that I played with then said that was an unbelievable experience, and I haven't experienced that. And I grew up going to Michigan games.
Mm-hmm. So Penn State just huge.
I think I was a little spoiled, I was in Ann Arbor, 1 or 2 weekends growing up. So then as a player going and playing there, I was like, well, I've kind of already done this. Granted,
Yeah.
I'm on the field now, but no, Penn State was really cool. There's still a lot of history there. They, to my knowledge, haven't updated their locker room. So the visitors' locker room, imagine 80 players traveling. I think we had to take turns to rotate to actually change.
It's
it
like
was
Iowa's locker room.
Oh, Iowa's locker room's pink.
Yeah.
And then one cool thing for the players is when you walk from the locker room at Penn State to the field, you have to walk through the concourse.
Yeah.
So you have fans lined up on both sides, just calling you names. It kind of added to that going into battle type feel, and then you walk out and you got 100,000 fans booing you, all wearing white. So that was probably the coolest experience for me as a player was just being in that environment.
Nice.
That's awesome. I'm going to switch gears. I'm going to say it actually wasn't at a game, but I got to when I was traveling through Iowa.
Yeah.
Iowa Stadium, where they're at.
Iowa State or Kinnick Stadium?
No, Kinnick Stadium.
Oh, Kinnick Stadium.
Where the Children's Hospital
Yeah.
is.
Oh, that's right.
I was on a business trip, got to stop through there, and obviously I'm partial in saying that the Big House is the best ever. You know, my wife was astounded when we went there. But for me personally, I actually really thought stopping by
Kinnick Stadium.
Yeah, Kinnick Stadium. Seeing the Children's Hospital, because you see it on TV and you don't realize how powerful it is, because it's got a cool message behind it. You know, the players all wave to to the kids that are watching the game. I don't know. I think that's super cool and just a cool environment. I've always wanted to go to Happy Valley. Maybe we need to do a road trip possibly in the
I
near
like
future.
it. Let's do it.
Yeah, that might be fun. For you.
Yeah, this is a tough one. For the last 7 years covering kickoff, we've been to a few. I mean, like, obviously, from the field, Dallas Stadium. I mean, that screen takes up the entire stadium width. I mean, it's
I
crazy.
thought we were talking like college. You didn't
No,
say pro.
But the Cotton Bowl was there. So
You can't say Ford Field, right?
no, the
No,
Cotton Bowl.
okay.
The Cotton Bowl
yeah,
was there.
Ford Field is not. I mean, it's a cool stadium, but
I will say Georgia.
you've
Between the hedges, the 2019 game where Notre Dame went to play at Georgia and lost, what was that, like 20-19? I can't remember the final score. Maybe that was the home game. Whatever it was low scoring. But boy, oh boy, man, was that place rocking. It was rocking? Yeah, it was rocking. I mean, from the tailgates, you know, they just did it up over there at Georgia. And they were very, very nice about it.
Yeah.
Between the hedges, that was kind of cool to see. Uga was there, so that was cool to see.
That's awesome.
Georgia was pretty. They didn't have the new facility. They got a new facility that's unbelievable over the last couple of years. But just the stadium itself, the atmosphere, that was pretty neat. Ohio State was kind of cool too. I mean,
I gotta imagine that's.
it was nuts.
Have you been to the Horseshoe?
I've never been to the shoe. No,
It's kinda cool.
I haven't gone because I've had people have told me like nightmare stories as a Michigan fan.
Well, you gotta wear. You just have to wear like a black shirt.
But I know if I'm gonna go all out.
Then-
but you're
then-
gonna
Yeah,
get,
they're pretty
you
hard to
basically
get.
get stoned when you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah,
That's
you
the only
do
reason
for
I haven't
sure.
gone.
They
I've
weren't
heard the
that
same
bad
thing.
at Notre Dame fans.
Oh,
but
it's horrible.
Probably not.
No,
no. But Ohio, yeah,
That's
I can.
just because Notre Dame fans are.
I
so
want to go
nice.
watch the game. I don't want to get stoned. You know,
Well, so I'm saying you're gonna have to wear a black shirt.
like there's people that refuse to serve you food if you're wearing Michigan in
Oh,
Ohio.
for sure.
In down, like, after the game, you try to go get a burger and a beer, and they're like, "Yeah, you're a Michigan fan. You need to go
So
somewhere
what you're
else."
saying is you wouldn't wear an Ohio State jersey?
No, I would not wear an Ohio State
caught
jersey.
How much?
How much would it take for me to
flack.
do that?
Yeah. Like this year, should that be our bet? Like if they lose
Oh man.
to Ohio State this year, you have to wear a Ohio State jersey on a podcast.
I don't even have Ohio
Oh,
State.
we'll get one for you. He knows where to get
You
them.
know, eBay?
Yeah, eBay. I caught a lot of flack for wearing an Alabama jersey.
Did you
Oh,
on
yeah.
social?
Yeah, just from.
So what happens if Michigan beats Ohio State? Then what would you have to wear? You guys both have to wear Michigan gear?
I mean, I've already got that Desmond Howard jersey in my
That,
closet.
okay, that's a deal.
Is that a deal?
Yeah,
On the podcast, though.
I'll wear it on the podcast.
All right.
I'll get a lot of
bunch
shit
of
for that.
domers. Bunch of domers. You know, I got to wear some Michigan gear.
I didn't graduate from there.
Well, he's a domer.
Yeah, he's a
What are
domer.
you talking about? I graduated from St. Mary's.
Same thing.
What? Come
That's
on.
not true.
No, it is true. You don't know this?
Really?
Your degree is from St. Mary's?
One of them.
Oh, he's got multiple
All
degrees.
right.
Oh.
On that note, we're gonna go to break. Here.
You need a beer.
We're gonna
Vahid.
come back and talk about Tuscaloosa. We're gonna talk about Brian Kelly, and
Okay.
we're gonna talk about Michigan and Notre Dame. We're gonna do that next on the Varsity Brews podcast from the
Higgins
sixth
Lake,
most
baby.
beautiful lake in the
in the
world, Higgins.
Higgins Lake.
Back on the sixth most beautiful.
It is
the
the
sixth.
sixth.
Sorry, buddy. I'm just
It's
gonna.
gorgeous out here. I mean,
It
look
is.
at
It
dude,
is.
if this is the best day that you can have in an office.
What part of the lake are we on here?
We are at the South Higgins Lake State Park. I grew up here. I actually have a grill that I put in the water, and when I come up, and we stay more than 3 hours, I have a grill that I put right in the lake. We cook shrimp. We cook steak bites.
Man,
that sounds great.
I know.
Oh yeah, it's nice. And you sit here.
Evan, we haven't gotten an invite.
This
for
is
that
called God's country right here. I mean, you look around, man. In Notre Dame, they say it's God's country. Higgins Lake's God's
yet.
country.
So Higgins Lake
Hardy
in
sang
northern
God's Country at the concert on
love it.
Friday.
in northern Michigan. What town in Michigan?
Well,
are
this
we
is
in?
Roscommon County, is what they call it.
All
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So-
There's also one of the top golf courses in the state, not
Where?
the world.
The Bear?
No.
Oh,
It
which one?
is Forest Dunes.
Oh, Forest Dunes.
And they also have technically they have 3 courses there. They have Forest Dunes, which is kind of your prototypical golf course.
Yeah.
They have the Bootlegger, which is a par 3 course.
'Kay.
So after you get done,
Nice.
you go to the bar, grab some beers, bring them with you, and then walk barefoot. You bring a few wedges in your putter, and you go play a 9-hole par 3 course.
Nice.
That's
and
awesome.
then they have the Loop,
You need a
which
beer, buddy?
the Loop is a link-style course.
I'll take a beer. Is it a Westwind or?
that reverses every couple days. So
Oh.
imagine,
Ice cold.
it like the logo is like an infinity sign. So imagine an infinity sign. And so you play 18 holes clockwise,
Nice.
and then a day or two later it reverses, and you play it counterclockwise.
Okay.
All the same course,
Oh,
but
wow.
it's technically 2 courses. So you might be walking down.
Cheers, buddy.
You might be walking down, on one hole, and it's a par 3, and you play it 2 days later, and it's a par 5.
Oh, wow. That's
So
interesting.
bunkers are facing like the opposite way some days. It's pretty cool.
When I'm up here, Evan, I don't golf. I just go. I can tell you all the top 3 places to get a drink.
Okay. That's
So-
all. That's all valuable information. Maybe we do a golf and
Oh, that'd be cool.
yeah.
I'm in.
All right.
Well, thanks for setting this up, Evan.
Yep.
Evan set this whole thing up here at Higgins Lake. A Barletta boat, the Bimini, the whole
Right.
thing.
Bill and
buddy.
Kim at Pioneer Hills.
All right, so let's dive into the weekend. Let's give some grades here.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start with BK LSU. Give a grade.
Oh, well, that was an F. I mean,
I think I'm gonna.
I would
spit-
agree with that though.
I mean, they did not look good.
His whole thing, and we talked about last week on the
He
podcast.
guaranteed a win.
Oh, he guaranteed a win, and we talked about on the podcast last week how he makes second half adjustments.
And that didn't happen.
They were leading 17-14 at halftime.
Is Florida State that good though?
No,
Okay, because
I don't think
they
so
torched 'em.
personally. What do you think?
I don't know. There was this may be a weird year, to be quite honest.
It could be.
You've got the tailwinds of transfer portal and COVID years,
Yep.
Yeah,
and
that's fair.
there's been a lot of shifting of rosters
Yep.
where you could see a little more parity across the board.
Colorado.
Hey, I'm telling
A+.
you,
Hey,
should have
listen.
taken the over on that 3.5
Holy
wins for
I'll
Deion.
tell you what.
crap, buddy.
Dion said that they would win that game, and guess what they did? They won.
Dion's
that game.
I love
Hey,
Dion.
his
Oh,
interview
man.
post game was so good too. Was he was on the Pat McAfee show.
Yeah.
And he pulled out the little engine that could. He had the book. He goes, we were saying, I think I can. He goes, but those guys on the sideline, it was, I know I can.
Hey,
He's
that's
keeping
great.
receipts. He's keeping receipts, and
I
I
love
love every second of it.
He's
A+.
Brilliant win
he
for
has
him.
lost
A+,
more
yeah.
toes this year than football games.
All right, well, let's switch to another team.
So F for Brian Kelly.
What about
F-
Bama? Yeah.
Well, no, we'll
Yeah.
get to Bama. Brian Kelly, man, they were supposed to compete for national championship, and I'm
Well,
not saying they
They
can't.
still can.
They still can, because if
But-
they go unblemished in the SEC, but that's going to be impossible. And by the way they played and adjusted in the second, it was
Yeah.
terrible.
They
Terrible.
didn't look good.
They did not look good.
It was terrible. All right, let's talk about Alabama.
Okay.
Your experience in Tuscaloosa. What did you see from your boy at the offensive coordinator position?
Who I couldn't get a text. I don't know if it's that.
Did you text? Did you see him?
I don't know if it's still the same phone number, to be fair. But I even sent him that I was wearing an Alabama jersey. So
Hey, I want you to know that on my phone that I have you in my contact
That's
list.
me.
I have you in your
Yeah.
Bama jersey because you're
It's a-
never gonna
it's
with
a
the
funny
crop. With the
picture.
crop.
with a crop.
Oh, I love
Crop
it,
top.
dude. It's a '90s jersey.
it is. It was, yeah.
So what did you see out of Milroe, and did you see
So-
anything that you liked from Tyler Buckner?
So,
Sam Hartman, Tyler.
well, what was really interesting, right? Is it really was still kind of a 3-man up until 24 hours before on who was going to start. I mean,
Okay.
there was I think a lot of confusion even from the fan base because on our drive in there still had not been a starter named.
Okay.
And we, I spent a little bit of time post game talking with some Alabama fans, and I think they're pleased with having Buckner as a backup.
Yeah.
In case something does happen to Milroe. He did something no Alabama quarterback's ever done, which I couldn't believe. I mean, he threw for 2 and ran for 3. That never been done before by an Alabama quarterback.
Yeah, that's nuts.
And the first touchdown, it was
Is he a big dude?
he's stout, but he's athletic. I think the question mark is going to be when he plays against a good defense, is he going to be able to consistently beat teams with his arm? Clear and above is going to be able to extend plays with his feet, and he's going to hurt some teams, being able to run the football. I mean, the first touchdown was a broken play.
Okay.
Ball on the ground, picks it up, scrambles, and scores I believe it was a 30 or 35-yard touchdown run. So he has that ability. If you mess up, he can make you pay with his feet. So, teams are going to have to respect that. And if they do have a guy that spies him, that means he's going to have to make some plays down the field. Their defense is pretty good.
Okay.
Kool-Aid McKinstry, their defensive backs were pretty impressive. Middle Tennessee State, they play a lot of man coverage, and they can because they have the athletes to do it. Yeah. So, and then their boys up front too on the defensive line. They're big, they're fast. I mean,
so they're going to compete for a national championship again.
Well, I think that they'll be in the consideration for sure.
Okay.
SEC's tough. I mean, you got some
tough.
good teams there, and if you slip up, it's each week's is pretty difficult. But I would definitely right now. I know we did our predictions last week, and I didn't have Bama there.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Do you now?
Well, I think I said it's going to be a couple SEC teams, and it could be a carousel every year. I mean, between and I put LSU obviously in there too, but between Georgia, Alabama, and LSU, but. Yeah, after seeing him in person, I think for Tommy Rees at this point too. I mean, he's got a lot of options,
right,
for calling plays. So I think you can't really call Bama a sleeper team to make the playoffs.
No.
But based on our predictions to start the year, I guess they're right there. They're 5-6, but you get hot in the SEC and you win those games. I mean, you're in.
Cade Klubnik looked awful last night. I mean, seeing Duke pound Clemson, I told you on the text message, BK and Dabo cry a little, it doesn't hurt me. I'm okay with it.
Too, by the way.
Oh, Mike Elko. Good. Notre Dame product. Listen, I give Clemson a D-. They were horrible yesterday. They were talking about on the broadcast how they should change up quarterbacks after the first game.
Number 9 in the country, I think, going into that game?
Yeah, number 9.
Yeah.
And now Duke's going to probably be ranked after this week. Notre Dame plays Duke, by the way, later this year. Clemson didn't look good.
Ill-prepared, you think, or just not that good?
I don't know.
Early game blues?
What did you think of Cade?
I mean, they had QB woes last year, too.
Right. So do you think it's the system more than the quarterback?
I don't know if I want to say this yet, but I think that Clemson is on a little bit of a downward track.
Yeah, I agree too.
I
agree.
Yeah.
Back to, which isn't a poor program, but back to that 8 to 10 wins a year.
Transfer portal driven or no?
Yeah,
a little bit. And
yeah.
Dabo was very outspoken on not wanting to really dip into that. It was, if you don't want to be here, don't be here. But also, too, I don't think that they were, and I'd have to check the numbers for sure on how aggressive they were in going out and getting guys in the portal. But, what they did consistently, I mean, you had Trevor Lawrence. We said it last week when we were talking to Allison. If you get those 5-star quarterbacks that are no doubt first-round draft picks in 3 years, that's 3 years of consistent football where you're competing for, playoffs and you're competing for national championships. Unless you're doing an outstanding job in all facets, because you did bring up a good point. I mean, Stetson Bennett at Georgia, he's not. But they had so many guys around him, and maybe that's something to point out too, is where Clemson's not getting those same guys on the defensive side and at the skill positions.
Well, I do have to say this. After seeing DJ Uiagalelei this weekend at Oregon State light him up, is it the system?
That's a good point.
And not the quarterback. Cade Klubnik came in like all-world guy. This team should be in the national championship game. Yeah. And he had, 4 fumbles?
Well,
multiple fumbles, played horribly.
And watching the Notre Dame Clemson game last year, you talk system.
Yeah.
They had no game plan.
None. It was a horrible game plan.
And no adjustments. I was sitting there midway through the first quarter into the second. I'm like, what's their plan?
Right.
Do they have an idea of what they want to go out there and do? And it's like when you're missing an identity like that, it's difficult to consistently win football games because no one really knows what we're doing. What are we doing out here?
How many players did Dabo or did Dabo have a couple of years ago that went to the NFL? Who were those players? They were obviously the quarterback,
Running backs.
Sammy Watkins, right?
Sammy Watkins. I mean, he
Etienne.
had Etienne. He had
They had some dogs on defense too.
Yes,
Yeah.
amazing players. Now, the caliber of those players, you plug them into the system. The system hasn't been good,
But the players have.
yeah, the players have,
Right.
and they go other places and they become better.
Right.
DJ is gonna light it up, I guarantee, in the Pac-12 this year. Oregon State is a sleeper team. They beat Oregon. Remember last year in the Civil War game?
Yeah.
I think they could be a sleeper team in the Pac-12. Pac-12 went 13-0 this year in the first weekend. Speaking of crazy stats.
Wow.
Michigan, what grade do you give them?
Michigan had a good run. I mean, it was obviously you were without your coach. He was on, sitting at home, sending texts of what play to
Administrative
run.
leave or
Administrative
whatever
Were you
he put himself
coaching?
on.
Yeah. Were you coaching from the sideline?
Yes.
See Harbaugh sending texts.
Yeah, right. I mean, obviously they went in and took care of business. I mean, it was 30-3. It really wasn't a game the entire game. They won the game. They won by 4 touchdowns plus margins. So I mean, I look at it as it's another warm-up game. I mean, I think we were talking about this on the way up, Vahid. We don't know what Notre Dame's like right now. It's kind of where Michigan's at, right? You play a couple warm-up games. I mean,
You've
you
done
play
what you should do.
Yeah, you've done what you should do. You got the W. You move on to the next game and prepare, right? So we got 2 more games till Harbaugh's back, and we could throw, a party and have piñatas. They welcome him back. I don't know if you saw on J.J. McCarthy had a free Harbaugh.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, a little pop.
He's probably selling those.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you can.
Yeah, NIL, man. He's making money on it.
So what grade do you give them? B+, B?
Yeah, I'll give him a B. I mean, I think he took care of business. You did, like you said, they did what they were supposed to do. They won the game, and I'm excited. I think that we're on track to do what I thought was going to happen. And by the way, 12 p.m. Penn State. So I'm calling 12 and
saw
0.
It might
that.
change.
All
that.
right.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said it
don't
might
think so.
change.
I mean, I could see Penn State changing that.
I think Michigan paid him to be at 12 o'clock.
Well,
I don't
money
know about
talks.
that.
Yeah, right?
Boy.
I do want to talk Michigan a little bit too, and I don't think I mentioned this last week, but it was a thought I had. I think in some of these early season warm-up games, you're
Yeah.
going to see them continue to push McCarthy
Yeah.
to throw the ball 30 times.
Yeah.
Twofold, okay, to gain some confidence because he's
Yep.
going to have to do that at some point.
Yep, sure.
But also to make sure that running back room stays healthy.
Yeah.
And they aren't overworking those guys because a year ago it was very run heavy.
As all
There
Blake
were
Corum,
sometimes
yeah.
you would see McCarthy maybe throw the ball 15 times. But
Yep.
obviously he was very accurate and they were consistent on when they were doing it. But I think you'll see that 25 to 30 attempts per game here early on to really bolster McCarthy's confidence so that when they need him to do that, if a team decides to stack the box,
Yeah.
that's going to happen.
I think we talked about that a little on the way up, Vahid, where we said that Michigan in that game also felt more balanced. So they're running the football. The players talked about it. McCarthy, Corum after the game all talked about it. Wilson, who had a couple catches, they talked about how they were definitely a much more balanced team because if you look at it, when you're only running Blake Corum all season long, guess what happens? You get to the playoffs. Right before the playoffs, he gets injured. You're done for the season, and you're done.
Yeah.
Now I like that approach. I think it's one positive thing I saw about Michigan is they're mixing it up, not just sticking to one run game as a tradition have over last year.
You are listening to the Varsity Brews podcast on Higgins Lake in northern Michigan here for an on-the-road podcast, and we're giving teams grades from the NCAA this past weekend. You give them Michigan a B+. You made good points about Michigan. Let's switch over to Notre Dame right now, and let's talk about that defense. Because I'm a little worried about that defense. I'm not going to lie. They gave up big chunks in the first half against Navy. They gave big chunks in the first quarter against Tennessee State. I'm just a little concerned as to – now, this is not to take anything away from them. Sam Hartman played another great game. The running backs, obviously that room is loaded. But how quickly it takes that team to adjust on defense is a concern, because when you're playing USC, who puts up a score every time they touch the ball, that's going to put pressure on your offense. So I'm going to give Notre Dame a B, I think, in this game. They scored as many points as you thought they were going to score. They beat a team that you thought they were going to beat. Now we're going to see a little bit. I don't know how good NC State is, but you're going to see a little bit about the character of this team going on the road. And it's interesting. I will say that in years past, you're right, so much parity in college football right now. Because at this point last year, we were like, okay, this team's going to be 9-2. This team's going to be 10-1. We were sure about what these teams are going to do. This year, we have no idea who Michigan is, who Notre Dame is, who Clemson is, who any of these teams are. And I think it goes to the parity of college football. So with that being said, where do you put Notre Dame now after 2 games?
I mean, I still think I'm still holding
on the 3 losses.
I'm still holding there. Clemson losing, because that was a game I circled, but I did have questions about where they were going to go after last year. That may have been answered a little bit, but there's some other games now on the schedule where maybe there's a little more concern. Is that a trap game then?
Duke
being one
Duke
of those.
could be. I mean, lights out.
Well, and Mike Elko's going to want to beat Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
A little extra.
And I was bummed when Elko left. I loved what he was doing on the defensive side of the ball. And you better believe that he'll have a very good game plan for this Notre Dame offense. But you look at what Duke's offense did. I mean, they've got an athletic quarterback that, he can make plays with his arm and his feet. So
big guy.
That's another one. So I'm still going to hold, and I think a lot of that still has to do with some of that parity right now, is we don't necessarily know.
Sure.
So I'm going to stay still with 9-3, but maybe the losses that I initially thought maybe aren't. But I'm gonna just hold for.
All right,
now.
he's holding his
I'm gonna
cards.
Hold and that isn't to say, hey, I'm just going to say this right now. That doesn't mean that a few weeks down the road I'm going to say that they're going 12-0. I just want to be clear here that it isn't going to be like
the only person drinking the Kool-Aid this year is
guy.
right here in this back seat right here.
If there's a change, it's like 10-2 from 9-3 to 10-2.
Am I crazy for drinking the Kool-Aid this year though? Like, in a down year like this where there's parity across the board, if there's no better time for Notre Dame football to win a championship than this year where there's parity. Right? Am I wrong though?
Well,
and they have a quarterback.
You think they'd beat Georgia or Alabama or Michigan? We already answered that. I just don't think they do.
Let me say this.
Do they get into the playoffs?
Yes.
Okay.
But can I say this? I think so Notre Dame played Alabama in 2018, right, in the Cotton Bowl, in that playoff. They lost 30-3. They torched them. Let me say it would be closer.
So like 30-7?
Buddy.
10?
He's not drinking the Kool-Aid, Vahid.
I'm drinking beer here on the sixth most beautiful lake in the world.
Right now.
He got a little something.
I would say it would be closer. And because of
Sam Hartman.
Players want to play for Marcus Freeman, and Sam Hartman would be the difference. Again, we don't know. Right, we're going to find out a lot when they play Ohio State in a couple weeks. Ohio State didn't look particularly great either.
Still, the Ohio State looked horrible this past weekend.
So we're going to find out a lot more
against Indiana.
I think
they won the game?
If that continues, you know who might be the head coach at Ohio State in a year or two?
Marcus Freeman. I called that.
You did.
I called that. I said, listen. I said in a public setting this weekend. I'm like, I hope. I think I said this to you guys.
Yeah, you did.
I said, I hope Marcus Freeman sticks around for a lot of years. But I am worried that if Ohio State loses 2 or 3 games this year, he's going to be the next coach of Ohio State next year.
The next head coach for Notre Dame, Tommy Rees.
On that note, we're going to go to commercial break. Can't even fathom the thought. We're going to be right back.
Some Jimmy Buffett music. We're on a lake. That was great.
Jimmy Buffett.
The Varsity Brew, R.I.P. The Varsity Brews podcast will be right back after this Tommy Rees song. Jeez, man. I don't know if we have a roller for Julia's Uncut Gems, but Julia is not here today.
I'm her
Make
son,
the introduction.
but I'm just as pretty.
I guess I didn't have to do the introduction.
Yeah, I guess not.
Micah Obendorf.
Micah is here for Micah's Uncut Gems
What's
this weekend. Hey, you got the better gig. You're on a boat at the sixth most beautiful lake in the world.
on National Geographic.
Evan, watch out, buddy. He might be on the podcast soon.
I think he should be.
All right, so what is the Uncut Gem for today?
All right, well, we got 3 of them today.
Oh, nice.
All right. If E.T. is one of your favorite movies of all time, then you'll be interested to know that someone squished their hands in jelly to make the sound effect for E.T. walking around.
Wow, I would have never known that.
All right.
Or jam.
Your gem. Our second Uncut Gem.
The name of a group of lemurs is a conspiracy. Really?
Seriously?
Yeah. Really, this is because they often work together in social groups to outsmart prey.
Wow.
Side note on that, ravens, a
Yep.
group of ravens,
Yeah.
It's called a murder.
murder, and crows,
Uh-huh.
unkindness.
Buddy, I'm learning a lot from Micah right here, right now.
I am getting smarter.
Absolutely. Murder. There's a
Look
murder.
look at that. Look at the unkindness over there.
And our third Uncut Gem.
Gatorade was invented at the University of Florida, named after the mascot of the school, the Gators. The university receives 20% of the profits from the beverage.
Oh.
Hey, guys, what do you give an alligator when it's sick?
Gatorade.
Gatorade.
Oh my gosh.
Bro, you are welcome on this podcast any time, my man. While you're here, though, we got to get your prediction for Notre Dame for the season. What do you think? 1 loss, 2 losses, 3 losses?
4.
4 losses. All right, he's going with the Duke
He's
loss.
not drinking the Kool-Aid.
No, he's not. He's not. Well, all right, buddy. Thank you so much for being on the Varsity Brews podcast.
No problem, anytime.
All right. Julia's Uncut Gems today is hosted by Micah. We'll be right back. The Varsity Brews podcast is back courtesy of Evan right here and Barletta, both letting us hang out on this beautiful Lake Higgins, your spot since day one.
I have. I've showed you my property right down the street. It's like a half mile off the road. One day you will find me, and if you guys want to come visit me and we could do a varsity podcast 20 years from now, I'll be right here on a Barletta because this thing is like legit. South
Damn, I'm going to
Higgins.
be old as hell. All right, let's do our picks for this week. It is the 2-minute drill. NFL starts this weekend, by the way, buddy. Detroit
First
Lions
game,
and
Detroit-
Kansas City
Detroit,
Chiefs.
what?
Kick us off here. What do you
Hey,
think?
I'm telling you what. I love what Dan Campbell has done up there. I mean, obviously, whether you want to talk about drinking Kool-Aid, I'm drinking that Kool-Aid all day and then some. Ecto Cooler, orange, fruit punch, it doesn't matter. I'm drinking it. I think the Lions are going to be really good this year. It's exciting to see them. You know, obviously, we've gotten through a few suspensions and stuff like that. But I mean, they're already talking Jared Goff to a long-term contract.
Why?
Well, you know what? Listen, hey, that's what happens. That's what Kool-Aid is. You drink it, you get addicted, and then you want more, right?
Dude,
so
that guy shouldn't have Kool-Aid. Jared Goff? No, come on, man. Sorry, no mean to disrespect
it's
the
okay,
team
man.
there.
But here's what I tell you. I'm excited. I think it's, you know,
He's a little bummed because of the Packers.
I know.
So.
Don't talk to me this year.
There ain't
I
no
just
love.
became- I
There ain't
just
no
became
love
a
there.
Jets fan
I was gonna
overnight.
say,
Okay?
this isn't a saltwater lake. You're all salty over here.
Jordan Love? Who?
I'm super excited, and yes, I did place my bet on FanDuel. There you go. Get my plug in there for them. Put my
FanDuel, if
$50.
you're
I win
listening.
$2,100 if the Lions win it all. It was $50. I'm like, you know,
What do you final score this weekend though? Kansas City Chiefs.
hey, here's what I'm gonna tell you. I'm in Kansas City. I'm gonna call that. I think the Lions are gonna beat them by 3.
What?
It's in the most major upset, just to start the train. Because if it happens, you watch the rest of the season. Everybody's gonna be talking about it.
All
So
right.
I think Dan Campbell's gonna come in there, get it done. I think that Goff's gonna have a good game, but they're gonna win by a field goal. That's what I
Bills?
think.
Bills?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you drinking the Kool-Aid this year?
I don't know.
You had the gear.
He
on
got
that.
rid of the
No,
Zubas.
I still have all that stuff. I still will be rooting for the Bills.
My son picked Allen as his quarterback.
I
in his fantasy.
after watching last year, just felt like there's something off.
Something's missing.
There's just something a little bit. I don't know if it's something in the locker room, but just some games where they should have won or should have won more convincingly. And right now they got to get over the playoff hump. I mean, they're going to have another great regular season. I mean, what Josh Allen brings to the table. I mean, he's one of the top QBs in the NFL. So I'm still on that bandwagon.
Okay.
I just think internally they've got to take that next step.
You've got one
at some
foot
point
off.
At some point that's got to happen.
Yep. All right. Packers go 3-14. It's freaking horrible.
3-14. Wow, you gave him some love there.
Oh, God.
No pun intended.
I mean, Miami Dolphins are my team this year, so don't talk to me. All right. So in terms of college football, Michigan, who are they playing?
Oh, man, Bowling Green. So, yeah, this is another little icing on the cake.
90-0.
Warm
Why
up.
are they scheduling these MAC teams? I mean, just come on. It's not even fair.
It's regional.
Yeah,
It's regional.
little warm-up game. They're going to smoke them by 40.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What do you got? Well, who's your pick this week?
Who do you want me to pick? Colorado.
Ooh, all right.
I don't know who they're playing, but I'm picking them to win.
Who is Colorado playing?
they've
Can you
got a
look it up
tough
on your
schedule.
internet?
I got it.
But
Oh, Nebraska
okay, they'll beat Nebraska.
at Colorado.
Okay,
It's going to be a sold-out show.
Well, they've already sold out all their home games.
Yeah, they did.
I still think it's hilarious. It was, we can't pay you what you signed for, but we'll get the money.
It's like an IOU.
Yeah.
I feel like we're
That's
watching.
as good-
I
that's
feel
as
like
good as money.
Yeah, I feel like we're watching Dumb and Dumber.
Those are
Those are
IOUs.
IOUs.
All right, our next game, obviously Notre Dame and NC State. Let's go.
All right. I'm going to take. I like the Irish in this game. I
Okay.
think that they'll pull it out. I think Hartman will have another solid game. I think that Audrey Gasme will probably start. You'll start seeing him run a little bit more. I feel like, I don't know, to help keep things balanced. I'm saying Notre Dame in this one by 7.
Okay.
I've got Notre Dame by 10.
Let me check the line
Yeah,
here. 'cause
I think it'll be a little bit closer. Given the two previous opponents, Notre Dame did what they were supposed to do.
7-point favorite only.
7 point. Yeah, I'll take the over on that. I think it's 10. We'll
Okay.
say 30-20.
Okay.
That's kind of where my head is. I mean, I like what this offense has done in the first two games. I myself, like you, have some concerns on the defensive side.
Yep.
I don't know if NC State is up to that task for 4 quarters, but I do think that they may expose some areas that Notre Dame's going to have to right size and fix by the time they start playing some more high-powered offenses.
Yep. Okay. I got Notre Dame. I think I do agree about the defense, but I think NC State is not good. So the spread is 7. I got Notre Dame by 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
I think they come out 30-14. That's what I'll pick final score. I'm not as concerned against NC State. I'll just leave it at that. I think they're going to play well. I think they're going to come out on the road, be focused. I do think, though, I'm going to pick Nebraska over Colorado. And the reason I'm going to do that is because, man, they got a huge win, and it's hard. It's hard to come down from a huge win like that.
Dog in prime time.
Yeah, but when
I
you
like
got-
prime
but
time.
when
I
you got
do.
a guy with his energy, though.
Oh yeah. Listen,
I don't know.
It's contagious.
Whatever supply he has, man. I'm telling you. He doesn't have Kool-Aid. He's got something else.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Well, the Varsity Brews podcast is brought to you by Westwind Brewery, and today also by Barletta Boats. Dude, thanks so much for letting
This
us,
has been great.
crash your
awesome.
Barletta.
Thank you.
And thank you to Kim and Bill at Pioneer Hills.
Yeah,
too,
absolutely. Thank
letting us
you.
jump out here on this boat.
And thank you to Westwind Brewery. Thanks for the Lagunitas today.
Yeah,
Something.
little something.
Hey, spreading the love.
Spreading the love.
That's what we do. Varsity Brews podcast on the road. Cheers.
Cheers.
We'll see you next time.